everyone. I want to share with you how we're going to be harvesting some grape leaves. I'm going to make some dolmas and some other recipes with them, but I'm going to show you how to clip them, what we're looking for. So we're looking for fairly see-through new ones. We want to get them about 2 to 3 inches to 4 inches across so that they're large enough to stuff. And you don't want to go dark green, those are too old. We don't want them middle size, we're just looking for the right size. And you usually harvest grape leaves early spring and then you can do it again in the fall. I'll also be coming out and harvest them to do some pickles with as well, because we're going to use them for pickling brine. But we're looking for the see-through ones, no insects or anything. We want to make sure that there's no eggs on the back of these. I'm going to clean them really good as well, but I'm just snipping them, leaving the stem on. And then I'll take you into the kitchen and walk you through the process of getting them ready for a brine and putting them in jars to store. Okay. I've sorted the leaves out. I've picked 60 of them and I have sorted them out in groups of 10. It'll make it easier to roll that way to put into the jars. I've sterilized my jars. I have 3 just in case. I think I can do them all in 2, but I brought a 3rd one up just in case. On the stove already going is the water bath canner. And we can water bath grape leaves. They're already acidic. We're going to add some lemon juice into our brine to make it more acidic, to make sure that we're not going to have anything go awry on our canning. Also on the stove, I have my, I love ball. I just, that's what I've always grown up with, canning. So I use them, but I have the wide mouth lids boiling. Again, you don't have to boil them, but I have grown up that way. My mom taught me that way, and I just feel more confident that they're going to seal and stay sealed. And so I bring them to a boil and keep them warm. Okay, so I have a pot of water on the stove that's boiling. We're gonna get it bubbling and hot, because after I've cleaned the grape leaves, then I'm gonna put them in here and I'm gonna blanch them for 15 minutes on one side of one stack, flip them over, and then blanch them again on the second side for 15 minutes. We'll put them in an ice bath to stop that process, and then I'm gonna spin them dry, and then we'll go ahead and roll them and put them into the brine. So there's a few steps that are happening here. One way that I like to clean my vegetables from the garden, we don't use any pesticides or anything out there, any sprays that are not organic. And so just to make sure there aren't any bugs or anything on there, I just like to add a little bit of salt to the water and a little bit of just distilled vinegar. I don't measure, I just dump, and it just seems to help clean them. So I'm gonna do a stack at a time, and I'm just gonna lay them in here. Okay, so while those are soaking in that, I'm gonna make the brine and get it on so it's hot as well. You always wanna do hot water onto whatever it is that you're going to water bath, because you can't go cold into there. They'll split the jars and you'll have a huge mess. So the brine is just some water and salt, and then I'm going to add, it called for citric acid, but I don't have any, so I have lemon juice. Most households have lemon juice. I'm gonna put 1/4 of a teaspoon of lemon juice in the bottom of each jar, so that when I put the hot brine in there, it'll just mix with the lemon juice, and then we'll have a nice acidic bath for them to, or a brine for them to go into. So the recipe is a tablespoon of kosher salt or sea salt to 1 cup of water. I'm gonna do 3 cups of water. I always do more because I'm not sure how much the jars are gonna hold. So I'm just gonna do my 3 cups, and then I'll do 3 tablespoons of the salt. And we'll put that on this back burner so that it can start to dissolve that salt. And I'll watch it. I'm going to try to stack these so so that they're ready to roll and will be easier to work with that way. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the boiling water to blanch, and I'm going to set a timer for 15 seconds. And we're just going to put them in the water, kind of hold them there. The timer to start. You can see that they're changing colors. That's okay. We want them, they'll go like an army green, if you will. We want to stop that process, so I'm going to stick them in ice water. And then we'll just repeat that process with every group of 10. We'll go ahead and put them in the water, blanch them for 15 on each side, stop them. I'm going to spin them to get some of this water off, and then we'll roll them up and put them into the jar. Okay, so they've cooled down, stopped the process of that, and then we're going to put them into here, and I'm just going to spin some of this water off of them. I've been trimming off some of the stems if they're really long, just so that they're not in the way as I'm trying to line everything back up here. Also, we're going to make sure that we're rolling from, we're going to roll from the stem side, the rough side, I guess, up is what we're going to roll from. So I'm going to bring those over, and I'm hoping that I can get 3 bundles to a jar, but I sterilized an extra jar just in case. So I brought the brine back up to a boil just so it's nice and warm. I'm going to run some hot water on the jars just one more time so I know that they're going to be nice and warm before I put hot water in them. And then I'll add 1/4 of a teaspoon lemon juice instead of the citric acid directly into the jar. There's our first one, and we'll stick it. Some people tie them. I'm not going to tie them. I'm just going to stick them into the jar. I think that they're not going to come apart. I don't see that coming apart. You don't want it to be, we're going to leave it a headspace of a 1/2 inch headspace, so to your edge of your jar is that 1/2 inch that you want to use, so we don't want that to go above there. So we're just going to take the brine and spoon it over. The lid, place it on there, grab your band. You only do just a finger tight. You don't tighten it all the way, you just twist it till you can't with just your fingers. And we'll go ahead and set it. Our water is kind of boiling. I'm just going to go ahead and set it in there and grab this next one. I'm going to lower this down. Okay, and there's not enough water in there, so that's usually what happens. We want to make sure that we have, the water wants to cover the lids by about 1 inch. You have to make sure that you have those covered or they won't seal properly. Okay, so I'm just adding water because we want to make sure that it covers it by at least 1 inch. It won't seal properly if not. And then just like for the blanching method, you want to make sure you start your timer when the water is boiling. So these are going to water bath for 15 minutes. So that 15 minutes is going to start when this water boils. Okay, we're at a full rolling boil, so we're going to put the lid back on here, and then I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. And we'll let it go, and then once they're done we'll take them out, let them cool, And then we'll put them on a shelf in a dark place for when you're ready to use them. You want to wait at least 2 weeks. Anytime you can something, you want it to sit for a couple of weeks before you open it. But I'm ready to make some dolmas. I think it'll be a lot of fun. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and we're happy to have you join us along the time. Summer's going to get rolling. We're going to be doing so much canning. So stay with us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining the Bountiful Farmhouse.